Hello, community. We are here today with Kelsay Elizabeth Myers, a friend of mine, and also a co-author in Modern Day High Priestess, a collaborative book that we're both writing in that is really transforming our lives and setting us up for a priestess path into the future for our lives. So I'm really excited to have you, Kelsay. And I want to talk more about your experience in the book, why you said yes to being in this book, because I think other people will resonate with that around the power of saying yes and what the effect of saying yes to something and how it can have like a better than you can imagine type of opportunities present themselves to you. So how about telling us a little bit about yourself, Kelsay?
Great, thanks, Jennifer. I'm so happy to be here and to be part of the book. And part of my journey has been to heal my own trauma through expressive arts, through writing, dancing, drawing, intuitive movement, and really exploring that through different metaphors. So when I saw the call to be in this book and the title of the Modern Day High Priestess, I knew it was something I wanted to be part of, especially with that idea of reclaiming our sovereignty.
Nice, nice. And I remember when I made a post about the book, which was, I think, a few months ago, and all of a sudden you just reached out to me and you were like a yes, a hell yes, right away. How did you know you were a yes?
Well, I'm very in touch with my own intuition, and I generally know if I'm a yes or a no. So for me, I generally reach out to people if I already know it's a yes or it's something I want to be part of because I can feel that energy and I just want to know if I can actually make it happen or if it has to be kind of put off until I have more money or time or, what the commitment is. But, I kind of already know that it's something I want and I just go in for it. I was actually that way with the Awaken school too, which is how I met Jennifer.
Yeah.
And I was like, I signed up for it before I even knew the price, which actually ended up kind of being like, oh crap, but but I made it work.
Yeah, see, like the power of the yes, like once you know you're a yes, it doesn't actually matter what the price is, right? Because you make it happen. It happens for you. When so tell me a bit more about how your intuition, like how long have you always been in touch with your intuition? Like, because this is part of your priestess power, I feel. Is that right? Your intuition?
To- Definitely. I feel like I've always been in touch with it. In fact, my mom said one of her sisters, my Aunt Lynn, said that I really was my personality. Like as a toddler, she could see that I was a Libra, that I was very, just kind of in touch with who I am. And luckily, my parents really allowed me to be that, to make my own choices, to kind of find my own way and figure things out. So I've drawn a lot on just, is this a yes for me or what do I want for most of my life?
That's so lucky. That's so lucky. But did you have any challenges along the way that tested that for you? Like, did your yeses ever get tested?
Definitely, when I started dating, I was a kind of a late comer to the dating scene. So I didn't actually start dating until I was 29, and then I made like all the mistakes teenagers make, falling for like narcissists or the bad girl types,
Yeah.
and and really kind of actually losing touch with my own voice and my own power in those situations.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, I had a lot of kind of toxic and even abusive relationships with older women between the time I was 29 and 32 before I really started, you know, coming back to myself and working on healing my trauma so that I wasn't attracted to people like that and that I didn't feel like, um, becoming everything that they wanted and forgetting who I am in the process.
Right. Right. And so I know you're working on your chapter. You're getting close to submitting your chapter to our editor, Tina. And is part of your story something about this, or is it something totally different?
Yes, it is. In a way, it's about how I kind of got in touch with my own power and really unraveled a lot of history, a lot of conditioning, a lot of just, other people's voices to really get in touch with my true essence and my own voice. And part of why I really wanted to be a part of the book was at the time you put the call out and I saw it, I had just gotten a new kitten. My 17 and a half year old Persian passed away in last October, and I just got a new black Persian exotic short hair kitten, Zara, who as soon as she came into my life, it felt like destiny was moving, and I had this new energy and this new way of being and relating to things that felt very connected to her coming in. And the story is that we are literally 40 years apart. We're both October babies, Libras. She is a wood dragon and I'm a wood rat, so we're in the same Chinese trine. And I actually got her on January 12th, 2025, and my parents adopted me, and I was flown to them in Michigan on January 12th, 1985. So,
Interesting. I'm getting chills.
yeah,
I just gotta say, I want you to keep going with the story, but as soon as you started talking about her and destiny, I just started getting like a vibration of chills. It was cool. It's cool.
right. And like from the moment I had seen her picture, I just kind of felt like, oh yeah, this is my cat. This is the cat that I've been looking for. And I had been looking since October, and there were no Persians available in California. I was thinking about this woman in Ohio who said it would be another 6 months just to be on a wait list. And I was thinking like, oh, so maybe I'm not supposed to have my Persian for a while. And then I saw her, and I was like, yeah, that's the one. And all of the symbolism, just the way that she came into my life, just felt very like a higher power or like a higher calling was coming in. And very quickly, when she came into my life, I felt power shifts within myself. I actually did a 5D clearing with a friend of mine, Christina Gerber, who does these crystalline channel healings, and that put me in touch with how in a past life I had lost my power. I had, lost my staff, my crown, my robes, and I saw this past life with Zara and my cat who passed, and some other of my soul connections as this feline tribe that had been slaughtered in the clearing. And I felt like I had been trying to get my power back since then.
Really?
And when Zara came in, it's like the energy shifted, and I was doing a shamanic course at the time too, where I like went through different dimensions trying to get my power back, and I got my staff and my crown, but the robes are still missing, and I was really like searching for them, and I just felt this kind of karmic anger in me because I was like, I want it now. And like, I feel like a lot of these gifts have been returned in this year. And I feel like, I'm getting closer in this lifetime than I ever have to kind of reclaiming that power that was lost in the tribe. So that is what my chapter is about.
Wow. It sounds so cool. I can't wait to read it. And this book is very much about reclaiming our spiritual authority in today's world as leaders, as spiritual leaders. And that journey you just explained is exactly what many of the authors have gone through in some way, shape, or form in their stories as well. And I'm a cat person, like Merlin, my cat's laying right here. Usually he makes an appearance, but there's something about animals and our power and then protecting us. So I really resonate with that part of your story. Maybe some of the listeners might also resonate with, totem animals or, okay, I have a really weird story to tell you that happened today. And it's so interesting because yesterday I was in a LinkedIn posting party, and one of the posts I was commenting on was talking about bats. And then this morning, Ian came into the bedroom and told me there's a bat in here. There was a
Wow.
bat in here.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so, and he was afraid of it, of course. So I had to deal with it. But so I opened the door and the bat was right on my background here and it flew. And I opened the big window and it got out, I imagine. Otherwise, it might still be in here. But isn't that weird how like we can get signs from animals? And like we both are in the shamanic realm as well. So yeah, like I was really resonating with that. Like, and it was all about death and rebirth and transformation when I looked up the bat symbolism. And I really feel like this book, Modern Day High Priestess, is the death of an old time, an old paradigm, and a rebirth of a time when we did have our sovereign power, when we did, you know, those times when you talked about the robe, the crown, we're reclaiming all of our regalia. And so that we can step into our power. And part of that regalia is being an author, I think, is being a speaker, is being a leader in the work that we're doing as healers, as guides, as mentors or coaches. And one question I want to ask is like, what does it really mean to you to, like, how have you been expanding besides the story you just told me since you've said yes to being in this book? Because for me, I've had multiple collaborations with other authors already. And I'm just wondering what has happened for you since you've said yes for getting into this book.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest two things are that since saying yes to this book, I decided to say no to my PhD program. I had been working on a doctoral degree in transformative studies since 2016 when I really started my healing journey. And through the research that I did, I found the Tumulpa Institute expressive arts training that I did. I found the clean language and soul-based coaching training, and when I did those and I really healed my trauma, I wanted to be more of a practitioner, to be, you know, a transformational healer, to be out in the world. And I still felt tied to the program and into my old academic pursuits. And I got clear just in the last couple months that I really want to go full time with my business. I really want to see what I can do out in my networking groups as a leader, and with writing my own book as well as this chapter in the way that I want to, not with rules and other people's you know, guidelines or perspectives on how I should be doing that. So I'm in the process of working on this, and then my book that I'm also hoping to publish with Melissa Keenan and Hope Enterprise. So
Nice.
yeah. Yeah. So
Awesome.
that's all been kind of in the works of the last couple of months.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm also doing my solo book. I'm in the process of getting into the next steps of editing and getting to the book launch on that as well. So many things have opened up for me as well since, you know, connecting with the other women in this book, creating it, and like every step that we go, like we've made the book cover and marketing graphics, and we're still inviting more women into this book because it is an important opportunity to say yes to being on the path of the priestess, to say yes to reclaiming your spiritual authority, to say yes to all of the opportunities that are beyond what I can imagine. Yesterday, we were having a group call. I was telling you before we went live about all of the things that can come about because of being in this book. And I was talking about initiation and collaboration and community and retreats and, you know, opportunities to travel, like Melody's creating a a center for, for retreats, and I'm, consciousness expansion, like just everything that the priestess energy holds, the divine feminine holds, is so expansive. It's not like narrow. It's so wide.
Yeah.
And it does not have to be contained, and we don't have to decide today. We just have to be open to receiving it. And that's what I really love about the magic and the miracles that this book is holding for me. And I feel so blessed to be part of co-leading it. The idea dropped in. I've said this before, the idea just kept it coming in. Modern Day High Priestess, get the book, the multi-author book, and it would not go away until I finally connected with Melissa. And getting to know Melissa, and I know she's watching probably, is, been one of those people who's pivotal to something else happening in my life. And I feel like, a connection with you is another pivotal point. And there's a connection with Melody and other authors in this book that if we don't come together, those connections won't happen. So that's why I feel so confident about this yes that I've made. And I know that you feel confident about the yes that you made. Anything you want to elaborate around the yeses?
Yeah, definitely. I love what you said about how that priestess energy is an expansive energy, and I really have felt that expanding, or that widening and that opening in my own work and in my life. And I think that is the power of really holding that priestess energy, holding our own sovereignty, is that so much more is actually possible. And yeah.
So much more is so possible. And I'm really grateful that you came on together, and I'm really excited to hear that you're doing another solo book with Heart Open Publishing. And that's that's another way to expand, is the multi-author book. Like the one chapter you're going to write is just a small part of your story. And I know that many of you who are listening, you have a bigger story to tell. And being part of a multi-author book also connects you with this publisher at Heart Open Publishing too. So there's opportunity to go into this solo writing with, and you know what else is really beneficial about the multi-author book when you have your solo book, is you learn how to do the book launch. You learn how to do the marketing around the multi-author book that's going to support your solo book. So there's so much, and you have a community of women to help you with launching too. You have a community of women that are going to support you when you launch your solo book too, or when you're launching that retreat, or when you're launching a new program, and you want support from people who are aligned and like-minded.
Yes.
I really feel that. Anything else you want to tell us about your experience so far with the book, or or about the dream you have, like that the book will help you with?
Yeah, it's funny because as I was coming on and starting to write my chapter for this book, I also, as you mentioned, developed a new coaching program called Be a New Story. And I feel like the energy of this book is really helping me to be my own new story. And then I can offer that to my clients in this new program. And I feel like there's also, for me, I'm reclaiming parts of my old writing identity. Like I started out as a poet, and my first mentor, Diane Seuss, said I was very like Walt Whitman-esque in my style and wanting to be expansive on the page and take up the whole thing with prose sentences. And and I actually, one of my favorite poems since I was about 8 has been Whitman's When Lilacs Last and the Dooryard Bloomed. And I'm actually using that sort of as a frame and structure for my modern day High Priestess chapter. And
Nice.
And the power and the connection that I felt since I was a girl to purple lilacs, especially.
Nice. I had purple lilacs blooming in my yard earlier this spring. Yeah. Thank you so much for being so open and sharing about what your chapter is going to be about, and sharing the power of the priestess path that you're on, and that it hasn't always been easy, but you feel so much power coming in right now and so much support. And I also feel that too, since stepping into this book, is when you work with powerful women who are not competitive, who are not jealous, who are not worried about stepping on each other's toes, it's really a different frequency, and it's so supportive. Even if we're not even talking every day, it's just like we're all holding this container together. And so I'd like the listeners to know that there is still room to get into this book. We're still inviting the modern day high priestess co-authors in. And if you feel self-selected or self-initiated and connected to the divine feminine in a sacred way, that you have a story to tell that is going to support other women and help young girls, even way down the road. We have no idea how big and bold this book will be, but I know it will be, and it already is just by the title. If you're feeling called, please reach out to me, DM myself or DM Kelsay, and we can tell you more about being in this book. And we have the book cover already designed, and we're working on the book launch party now. Like, part of that party, and we'll feel excited about it. And thank you so much, Kelsay, for coming on and telling us more about you. And if you want to get in touch with Kelsay, she's developed a new program around, what's the name of your program again? That's the story one?
Yeah, it's called Be a New Story, Recapture Your Creative Life.
Awesome. Be a New Story, Capture Your Creative Life. Recapture, is that what you said? Recapture your creative life. That sounds powerful. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks.